At 4.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Live at 4. Hope you had a good weekend. For a lot of people, it's back to work and back to school after the long holiday.
Yeah, that dreamlike 2 weeks is over. We're back to reality
It's over.
now.
Yes, that's right. And it's kind of a little bit of an adjustment.
Yeah. But here we are, New Year. Same us.
Yes.
Thanks
Happy
for
New
being
Year.
with us. Happy New Year. Well, first at 4, a fire in Edgerton Sunday night left a beloved supper club in shambles.
News 3 Now's Jalen Banks traveled to the area to speak with people on what the place meant to the community.
We apologize. We're having some technical difficulties. We'll get that out of the way for the start of the new year. Let's get a check of our weather. Pretty nice out there today.
Yeah, a lot nicer today compared to the last couple of days. Those temperatures getting up into the 30s, and some areas are even close to the lower 40s. Looking across Dane County, middle to upper 30s. The northwestern portion of Dane County, fairly mild, 39 in Sauk City. As we take a look across the region, mostly in the middle to upper 30s. So it is pretty comfortable out there compared to this time yesterday. We're about 10 degrees warmer, but we are going to see some precipitation tonight in the form of a wintry mix. Now, this is expected to move into our area after sunset, and those in central Wisconsin will see it a lot earlier. But we could be seeing some rain, some freezing rain, and also some snow. And the further north you're located, the better chance you will see that wintry mix. And again, the northern counties will also see it earlier in the night. Once we get closer to sunrise Tuesday, we'll see the entire area see precipitation of some kind. It does look like Madison and surrounding areas will see mostly rainfall, but some freezing rain is also possible for far southern Wisconsin. And I would advise everyone throughout the night and into Tuesday morning to definitely just take it easy on the roads, as we could see some slick conditions as some light precipitation may continue throughout the day tomorrow. Now, the good news is that despite the precipitation tonight into tomorrow, it's not really going to affect the temperatures, but I'll talk more in detail about a potentially bigger system later in the week. Of those details coming up a bit later.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Wisconsin lawmakers are weighing a bipartisan bill that would expand compensation and support for those wrongly convicted and then exonerated. According to reporting from the Wisconsin Examiner, the proposal follows recent claims from a board decision awarding Gabrielle Lugo the state's maximum of $25,000, while recommending that lawmakers approve an additional $750,000 more. This proposal would increase the current compensation cap of $25,000 up to $1 million, and it would also help fund health coverage and re-entry assistance. Lugo spent 14 years in prison for a homicide that was later determined he did not commit.
Captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife entered not guilty pleas in court this afternoon. Inside
a federal courthouse, Venezuela's deposed leader Nicolas Maduro told a judge he is innocent and a decent man. The 25-page indictment alleges Maduro and 5 others, including his wife, his son, and other Venezuelan leaders, have for decades partnered with some of the most violent and prolific traffickers and narco-terrorists in the world.
And that's to distribute tons of cocaine to the United States to, quote, make themselves rich. Meanwhile, in Madison, people turned out to protest over the weekend following the U.S. attack on Venezuela, joining nationwide protests to share their objections. This as Venezuelans around the U.S. celebrated the news.
Wisconsin lawmakers are responding to the operation. Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin said, quote, she is committed to stopping the flow of illegal drugs, but the way in which President Trump went about the situation was unconstitutional. Meanwhile, Congressman Mark Pocan called the bombing and capture an illegal act of war against a sovereign nation, reminding us that only Congress has the ability to declare war. The White House pushed back, calling it instead of a war, framing the strike as a mission to enforce U.S. laws and bring Maduro to justice.
Representative Brian Stahl posted, Nicolas Maduro is a narco-terrorist indicted on drug trafficking charges. He contributed to the overdose deaths of thousands of Americans each year. With Lake Mendota officially freezing on New Year's Day, ice fishers took this weekend's cold temperatures as an opportunity to enjoy the frozen lakes. Now, it's common to see the tents for fishing in plowed squares for skating, but how often do you see ice sailing? It's pretty cool, right? We do see that from time to time around here. Do you have any winter activities that you like to do?
Well, I love that people that embrace winter, because you and I are winter birds, although this mild little break, it's kind of nice, isn't it?
It is, and especially after the holidays, you can get outside.
Exactly, and take a walk.
Take a walk, yes. Growing up, I did a lot of ice fishing. That may surprise some people, but I went with my dad and grandpa up north quite a bit in Minnesota.
You are a true Minnesotan. I do a lot of ice skating.
Okay, that's good.
Which I love to do too. Yeah.
Still do that triple axel?
Yes, unintentionally in the parking lot usually when it's slippery, but the weather is going to be really mild, and then some changes might be coming too. We'll get the details on that with Jacob in just a little bit. But still ahead tonight on Live at 4, wedding barns have been popping up all over our state. They offer picturesque wedding spots, but some new legislation could be complicating things for some of those venues.
And Josh Sprider is in the 608 helping us get ready for the annual Wonders of Physics show. He shows us a taste of what we can expect.
And then whether it's back to school or back to work, getting back to it after a week or more off, as Brady and I were just talking about, takes a little bit of an adjustment. We have some tips to help you get back into the routine.
Oh good, I could use them.
Yeah, me too.
The weather is feeling milder this week, but some freezing rain has a chance of making travel dangerous. Jacob is back with First Warn forecast with everything you need to know.
Welcome back. Here's a look at the 3 things you need to know. We are going to be seeing that wintry mix overnight into tomorrow. Some rain, some freezing rain, and also some light snow will be in the forecast. But the good news is that despite that precipitation, we're still going to have high temperatures at least at near 40, with some days possibly getting into the middle 40s. But that is going to be until we see a potentially bigger system towards the end of the week that will cool the temperatures down and could bring some accumulation to our area, although there's still a lot of uncertainty. I'll talk about that and all of this in just a moment. But first, also want to mention we're going to be seeing some patchy fog develop overnight and maybe continue for a good chunk of the day tomorrow. So this is the visibility forecast. You can see after midnight that fog roll into the region. Visibility is down to a quarter of a mile, and it's going to continue into the daylight hours Tuesday and potentially throughout much of the day as well. Now, it will get better in the afternoon tomorrow compared to the morning hours, but still a little noticeable. And then as we get towards Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, we could see more of that fog move into the region. A big reason for this is because we're going to see some very mild overnight lows where they may not even drop into the 20s some nights, and that's going to allow that fog to develop. But the fog won't be as bad once we get towards Wednesday afternoon and Thursday, and then towards the end of the week we will see those temperatures fall back down. Now, looking at the wintry mix tonight, there is a winter weather advisory in effect for northern counties, including Juneau County, Adams County, Marquette, and Green Lake counties. This is from 9 p.m. this evening until noon tomorrow. It's mostly due to the fact that you folks will see a light glaze of freezing rain. Not really going to see a lot of snowfall accumulation, but maybe a ½ inch will be possible for you folks. And we'll still see some slippery roads in far southern Wisconsin, but it's mostly just going to be solid rainfall for Madison and surrounding areas. Now, once we get towards the later evening hours, some light precipitation will move into central Wisconsin. Again, some rain, some freezing rain, and some light snow. Not really going to see the precipitation too heavy, but when you do get that freezing rain, it doesn't take a lot to create very slippery roads. And then once we get towards the later overnight hours, we'll see rain spread across the rest of our area. Some of it could be freezing rain, but again, the further south you're located, the more likely you will see only rainfall, but still could see some of those slippery roads. Now, as we get into the daytime Tuesday, the rain will be a little bit less consistent, but we still could be seeing some of these light precipitation showers kind of continue for a good chunk of the day. And then as we get towards the later portion in the evening, still might see a little bit, but the heaviest will be during the morning. And although it won't be too heavy, it still could create those slippery roads. Now, temperatures tomorrow, as I mentioned, not going to be impacted by it too much. We'll still have those highs in the middle to upper 30s, very similar to today. and we'll continue to see plenty of cloud cover. Looking at the high temperatures over the next 10 days, they're actually going to get a little bit warmer before they do cool down. Middle to lower 40s will be highs for Thursday. Then towards the end of the week, when that system moves through Thursday through Saturday, we will see the temperatures drop a little bit, but notice they're not going to drop too much. We will be in the 20s Sunday, but then back in the 30s for Monday and Tuesday. Now let's talk about that potential big system towards the end of the week. Now a lot could change between now and then, but it looks like we'll start to see some of those rain showers move in Thursday afternoon, but especially Thursday night we'll see rain across our region. And for Thursday and Thursday night, we're mostly going to see just rainfall. But then as we get towards Friday, we'll start to see a little bit of a rain-snow mix across the region, and then we'll have the potential for all snowfall once we get towards late Friday night and Saturday. And during the day, especially early in the day Saturday, that is the best chance that we'll see some snowfall accumulation. Now, how much we'll see is very, very up in the air, but there is that potential for accumulation, at least somewhere in the Midwest, as the confidence of a system does look pretty high, although the track of it can certainly change quite a bit. So we'll continue updating the forecast on that potential as it gets closer. Most of it will clear out by Sunday. In fact, pretty much all of it will clear out by Sunday, maybe some lingering snow showers Saturday night, but Sunday should be dry, although as I mentioned, it will be a little bit colder, but certainly not too cold. So looking at the 10-day forecast, we're going to remain mild for the rest of the work week, but we will see some precipitation. We'll see that tonight into tomorrow, and then starting later Thursday, but especially Thursday night, and then Friday and Saturday, we'll have a little bit of better chance of precipitation, ending as snow. Big game for the Packers on Saturday night in Chicago. It might be snowing there during that time as well. Next week, right now, looks pretty quiet, but we will see the temperatures just a tad bit cooler. But the good news, as you can see with the 10-day forecast, there are no days that are going to be bitterly cold. We may not even see lows in the teens, let alone single digits and below zero. So the relatively mild conditions, those will continue, although they will drop a little bit for next week.
All the skiers will be looking for a little bit more snow pretty soon. We'll keep an eye on that system that's coming. Jacob, thank you. In the 608, we're looking ahead to the Wonders of Physics annual show at UW-Madison.
Josh Spreiter is on campus with a preview.
We're in the Wonders of Physics Museum as we gear up for their annual shows next month. And joining us is the one and only Hattie McLean today. Hattie, it's so good to see you.
Oh, so nice to see you, Josh. Thanks for coming to the museum.
Yes, absolutely. So this is always a fun event for you guys, and it's all about showcasing how science works. And you've got a little experiment for us today.
Yeah, we love to get people interested in science, and we're gearing up for our big show that starts next month. This is just a taste of something that you can see in the show. I thought we'd make pickles.
Literally a taste.
Yeah, literally a taste. You are right. So in this vacuum container, I have a jar of pickle brine with some cucumbers in it. Just put those cucumbers in there. They're not pickled yet. Now, normally when you pickle something, I'm going to turn the vacuum pump on right now. When you pickle something, you need to replace all the water and the fluids in that item and all the air with the brine. That's what pickling does. And at standard atmospheric pressure, that takes about 3 to 4 days on your counter. But here with the vacuum pump, we're going to take all of the air out of this container, and that will allow the pickle process to happen much more quickly. What we're going to do is we're going to pull all of that air and moisture out of the cucumbers. And in fact, you can already start to see a few bubbles forming in the brine.
Oh yeah.
As the pressure gets lower, you'll start to see that brine actually start to boil. And we just wanted to get as much moisture out of the cucumbers as possible so then we can replace it with the brine. So you see how you got little bubbles forming around the pickles? Yeah. Why, they're not pickles yet. I shouldn't say that. They're still cucumbers. But the pressure's now, it's less than 5 psi. We'll get it a little bit lower. There you can really start to see it boil. It's the same reason that if you travel to a higher altitude, water will boil at a lower temperature because the pressure isn't quite as high as it is here.
Oh, that's so cool.
Isn't that cool? So we're essentially boiling that brine at room temperature. All right, now let's turn the pump off and get rid of that noise. And now watch the cucumbers turn to pickles as we let the air back in. You'll start to see them turn a darker color. And it happens just a couple seconds right before your eyes. We're essentially replacing all of that vacated space with the pickle brine. You see how dark they are now?
Yes,
do you want to try one?
Yes, of course.
All right. Let's see.
Love me some pickles.
Yep. All right, there's a fork right there.
Thank you.
Tell me what you think. The moment of truth.
Oh my gosh.
Is it good?
That's so good. That's crazy.
In just like 60 seconds, we made pickles.
In the 608 segment, we just made pickles. And you said normally that's like a 3 to 4 day process.
Yeah, if you make pickles on your counter, it takes 3 to 4 days for them to pickle.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. All right, so this is just one example of some of the things that you can see in the Wonders of Physics shows. What can people expect here in February?
Yeah, in February, a big open house. We have our physics fair also on the 14th of February. The show happens on the 7th, 8th, 14th, and 15th, so 4 days, 2 shows each day, so a total of 8 shows. Tickets are free. They're still available on the website. You just need to reserve one because the lecture hall only holds 300 people. So we can't have 1,500 people showing up for one show.
And it's a popular show, so get them before they're gone because the tickets usually go pretty fast.
Yes, yep. And if you want to see other things, again, the 14th is our physics fair. So we'll have lots of different tables, labs open. You can see quantum science and quantum physics happening right before your eyes.
Awesome. Well, Hattie, thank you so much. Appreciate you. So good to see you, too.
Thanks for having me.
And if you'd like to learn more about the Wonders of Physics shows, I've posted a link up on channel3000.com. In the Wonders of Physics Museum, I'm Josh Breiter, News 3 Now.
Wish you could hear the whole studio in unison say, Hattie!
Hattie!
So good to see her.
Very nice. Well, coming up on Live at 4, healthcare workers in Madison might be able to breathe just a little bit easier as a housing service steps up to help them out.
And then as we continue following developments out of Venezuela, thousands of Americans are now making their way home after their flights were canceled all across the Caribbean this weekend.
Plus, an announcement from Minnesota's governor is drawing support from our governor. Why Governor Tim Walz is stepping back from what could have been his third term.
And now the Packers are looking past a loss to the Vikings over the weekend to yet another matchup against the Bears in the playoffs, and all the cards are on the table for this one.
Yeah, no pressure, right?
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
A fire in Edgerton last night left a beloved supper club in shambles.
News 3 Now's Jalen Banks traveled to the area to speak with people on what this place meant to the community.
Just behind me is Lake House Inn, an Edgerton supper club which has served as a gathering place for decades for many families and friends in the area. I caught up with residents who live here on what this place means to them. Just before 8:30 p.m. Sunday evening, authorities were dispatched to Lake House Inn for reports of flames and smoke coming from the business. The blaze was so large it prompted around 10 agencies to respond. They were eventually able to knock down the fire just after 11 p.m. Lake House is a staple in Edgerton and the greater Rock County community, hosting countless dinners, parties, and celebrations. I had the chance to catch up with one resident whose family has worked at Lake House for generations. How long had you worked there?
20 years.
They worked.
Yeah, my kids worked there all the way through probably middle school and high school. And my daughter is back there working now. Went upstairs and my daughter called me and said she heard there's fire at Lake House. I looked out my front window and seen the flames. I immediately got dressed and went up there, and it was fully engulfed in flames.
Fortunately, there were no injuries in relation to the fire. However, officials say the business is a total loss. Many in the area are still processing the loss of this supper club that has been the source of so many memories for them. In the meantime, Lakeside Fire Chief Pickering says an investigation into the cause of the fire is still ongoing. For now, reporting in Edgerton, Jalen Banks, News 3 Now.
Jalen, thank you. The numbers on Wall Street today, green across the board. The Dow Jones is up nearly 600 points. The Nasdaq is up 160. The S&P 500 is up 43.
Major U.S. airlines are flying to and from the Caribbean again after a weekend of serious disruption prompted by the surprise U.S. attack in Venezuela. The FAA closed the airspace over much of the Caribbean on Saturday, and that impacted more than a dozen airports, including flights to and from Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and Aruba. Many Americans were stuck in the region as a result, including the Crane family, who won't be able to return home from Puerto Rico until later this week.
We've continued to search frantically to try to get something, even if it's small groups, break us up into smaller groups. And we found a flight for our eldest daughter, who's 18. We found a flight for her Tuesday, so she can go home a day earlier. For right now, one person's getting out Tuesday. The other 4 of us are booked for Wednesday.
Altogether, more than 1,100 flights were canceled due to the military action in Venezuela. Airlines are now adding service and using larger planes to try to get the remaining passengers home. It's a new year and a new semester for students, and that means back to the routine, back to school.
And for some children, yeah, that can be hard. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has some tips to help kids conquer a post-holiday slump.
The holidays are over. It's cold and dark, and classrooms will no longer be empty. If your child is having a hard time getting back into the swing of things, they're not alone.
The month of January can be really tough when it comes to sadness, blues, symptoms of depression, and it's a combination of a lot of things.
Dr. Ariana Howitt with the Kids Mental Health Foundation says getting back into the structure of a school day can lead to stress and impact a child's mood and behavior. She recommends keeping their routines as stable as possible, but also making sure they stay active and connected to others.
There is this thing we call behavioral activation, which is a treatment tool for symptoms of depression and depression itself that's just getting us to do something. Instead of waiting to feel good and motivated, you do it and then the mood will follow.
Howitt says parents can talk to children about how they feel going back to school, asking if they're nervous or stressed, and then problem solving with them. She says parents of young children may need to help kids label their feelings since they may not have the words to express their emotions. And finally, set small goals.
Let's say, oh, my child's in bed all day and they don't want to do anything. A small goal can be 15 minutes of a fun activity. And then you really want to focus on the praise and making it feel good, because what really battles depression is that positive reinforcement.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
And Dr. Howitt says to also encourage your kids to spend as much time as possible outside and in the sunlight, which can help serotonin levels and have a positive impact on mood.
And the good news is it's lighter outside for longer now.
Yep, I think we're adding a minute of daylight a day or something like that.
Here we come, spring.
Yep, we're coming.
Coming up on Live at 4, Hamilton is hitting Madison this week. We'll show you when and where you might be able to find some tickets.
Plus, Wisconsin's wedding barn industry is adapting to some new laws this new year that could change the way they do business.
And housing is tricky for most people, but it can be even tougher for healthcare workers. We'll introduce you to a group trying to change that.
But first, freezing rain is in our forecast. Jacob will tell us when and where. While it's cloudy and mild on this Monday afternoon, his first warn forecast is coming up.
News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Welcome back to Live at 4, everybody, on this Monday after a long holiday break. We all need a little extra coffee, a little motivation to get moving today.
Yeah, what even happened in the last 2 weeks? I'm not sure. But the good news is the weather is nice, so you can go outside, kind of get some fresh air and get back on track.
That makes the big difference.
It does, yeah. Here's a look with Jacob Montesano. Jacob?
Thanks, Brady and Susan. We are seeing those temperatures about 10 degrees warmer compared to this time yesterday, middle to upper 30s, even some areas close to 40. And this has been the case throughout the entire day. And it's also going to be the case throughout much of the week. Now, as we take a look at the chance of precipitation tonight, it's not going to impact temperatures, but it will create some slippery roads. So taking a look at the forecast over the next couple of hours, we'll see some rain, freezing rain and light snow move into areas north of Madison across central Wisconsin. Again, slippery roads are expected, although precipitation at any given time shouldn't be too heavy. Maybe some more moderate rain as we get closer towards Tuesday morning for far southern Wisconsin. But as you can see, most of southern Wisconsin, the far southern portion of the state, will actually see mostly rain. Still could see some freezing rain mixed in, so I definitely advise everyone to take it slow on the roads late tonight into Tuesday morning and even into the afternoon hours Tuesday, where we're going to continue to see some light rain fall across the region. Again, some freezing rain is possible as well. Also some light snow, although the chance of snow is very, very low. Certainly not going to see any accumulation. And the areas that are off to the north will see the most freezing rain and likely the roads that are the most slippy. So definitely just take it easy out there throughout the morning into the afternoon as well. All this will look to clear out by the afternoon. but we will remain mild. But I'll talk more in detail about our next chance of rain after this coming up a bit later.
Thanks, Jacob. If you're getting married this year in a Wisconsin wedding barn, bringing in your own alcohol could look different.
Our Ellie La Liberté shows us how newly enacted restrictions could impact the popular wedding venues.
Back in 2023, state lawmakers updated Wisconsin's alcohol laws. Now, that included new restrictions for wedding barns like this one. Those restrictions for wedding barns went into effect in the new year. But now there's an effort at the state level to undo some of those changes. As of January 1st, wedding barn venues either must get a liquor license or be limited to just 6 events per year and just 1 a month when guests bring their own alcohol. On top of that, the law limits alcohol options to just beer and wine. However, this bipartisan bill introduced last month would update those restrictions.
I've introduced a bill to change that part of the regulation to instead allow for 36 events, no limit on how many per month, and to allow for hard liquor so that our wedding barns, which are a really important way of bringing dollars into our rural areas, helping family farmers, and giving couples an affordable option to get married, can continue to operate.
Senator Spreitzer hopes to move forward with this new bill by March. However, it will likely face pushback and struggle to get a vote in the Senate. Reporting in the town of Cottage Grove, Ellie La Liberté, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Ellie. And to get this legislation through, Spreitzer also told us he wouldn't rule out offering this legislation as an amendment to another bill that could generate a bipartisan vote, even if leadership isn't willing to schedule the bill itself.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz announced he's ending his bid for a historic 3rd consecutive term in office, saying he's no longer able to give a political campaign his all. The announcement comes as Walz continues to face intense scrutiny over the handling of a widening alleged fraud scandal in the state, which federal officials say could have cost taxpayers up to $9 billion. Minnesota's U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar is possibly considering a bid for governor in the wake of Governor Walz's decision. In response to this news, Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers has released a statement saying, in part, Tim has always been a good friend and a good neighbor to us across the river. He goes on to say, I'm incredibly grateful we've had the opportunity to serve as governors of our states together. A new housing service aims to solve a critical problem for healthcare workers in Madison.
Our consumer reporter Michelle Renee Quinn is sharing the benefits.
Reliable Residence connects people with fully furnished monthly rentals, and the program is aimed at helping medical professionals specifically, but the founder confirms this is a resource for anyone in need. The company launched in July, partnering with property owners and now listing more than 125 units across the Madison area. Professionals who need housing for 30 days or longer can visit reliableresidence.com for an easier search. Founder Christina Henderson says the service addresses a real need for healthcare workers who face long hours and high stress.
You don't have to worry about going out and buying a piece of furniture. You don't have to worry about your heat bill or parking or, all these other things that can really put a burden on someone. Housing is extremely important to feel secure and rooted in that community. And if we don't provide that to healthcare professionals, they will not come serve our community.
Reliable Residence keeps costs down by reducing service fees and working with those property owners on pricing. And again, you don't have to sign for a year. These are 30+ days or monthly agreements. Now, I did compare Reliable Residence's prices to other listings, and you can see a couple hundreds of dollars of difference depending on location. A fully furnished 2-bedroom for rent in Verona costs between $2,400 and $2,700 a month. But with Reliable Residence, you can find the same type of home in the same location for just $2,250. And with Reliable Residence, the price you see is your monthly fee with all of your utilities included, including Wi-Fi and a parking spot and reduced service fees. The company is now expanding to Marshfield, La Crosse, and Janesville, as well as Gainesville, Georgia. And unlike most places with Reliable Residence, there's no fee to submit applications. And again, anyone can utilize this resource. For more information, visit the story on channel3000.com.
Thank you, Michelle Renee. You can follow Michelle Renee Quinn's Consumer Reports during the week or wake up early with her on Saturday and Sunday mornings anchoring our weekend morning newscasts.
Well, this week, the beloved musical Hamilton returns to the stage at the Overture Center. The award-winning show runs from tomorrow through the 18th with evening performances and weekend matinees. Balcony, balcony box, and mezzanine seats are mostly sold out, but some circle, upper orchestra, and orchestra tickets are still available. Find details and tickets at tickets.overture.org/Hamilton.
That show is still such a big crowd pleaser.
It really is. Have you seen it?
Not yet. I want to. Have you?
Yes,
Okay.
I have. It's worth it.
It'll be on my list of things to do, maybe. All right, next on Live at 4, this weekend is going to be packed with sports on our station. We have when you can watch the Badgers and a playoff game.
And speaking of the playoffs, the Packers have their eyes on this Saturday's wild card game against the Bears. Our senior Packers writer Jason Wilde tells us how the Pack plans on breaking a 5-game losing streak.
A not guilty plea in New York after Venezuela's president and his wife appeared in court today. We continue to follow this developing story.
And later we'll hear more from Jacob on the forecast and how long this mild weather is going to stick around. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Let's take a little trip to Tacoma, Washington, known as the City of Destiny. The weather there is 43 degrees, a little cloudy out. Now, look at that large white dome. That's the Tacoma Dome. It's the largest wood-domed arena in the world with more than 1.5 million feet of wood making up that ceiling. That's pretty cool.
That is very cool. The sky looks really neat there too. Well, it was a sour loss to the Vikings for the Packers over the weekend, but head coach Matt LaFleur says they did the right thing with their roster.
Now it's a wild card bid in the playoffs. Paired with a 5-game losing streak, the Packers have a long way to go for a chance at the Super Bowl.
News 3 Now senior Packers writer Jason Wilde tells us more from Green Bay.
Sunday's 16-3 loss to the Minnesota Vikings may have been the most forgettable Packers game I've ever covered, and that's through 30 seasons on the NFL beat. That said, it didn't matter anyway. The Packers had locked up the number 7 seed in the NFC. No matter what they would have done against the Vikings, they weren't going to gain any positioning. All they had to do was wait to find out their opponent. So Matt LaFleur played it safe. It was the smart thing to do, and now he gets the Bears for the 3rd time this season. It's also the 3rd time the teams have faced each other in the postseason and the 213th time they've seen each other overall. Matt LaFleur knows he has to use his history both against the Bears and in the postseason to learn from and prepare for Saturday night in Chicago.
Every year is a different year and different experience, and you got to learn from your past, no doubt about it. And I think it's just, the urgency that needs to be there from the moment we start preparing, which is really right now, in terms of for those guys that battled today, getting their bodies back. We got to have a great week of preparation. We got to maximize it, make the most of it, and go shoot our shot.
We'll have full coverage leading into the game and of the game itself from Chicago on our website, channel3000.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for the Packers newsletter, which delivers that coverage directly to your inbox every single day. In Minneapolis, but headed home to Green Bay, Jason Wilde, channel3000.com.
Safe travels, Jason. Thank you. And we'll have team coverage live from Chicago on Saturday. The Packers are also inviting fans to be part of the playoff excitement. Throughout the week, the organization is offering a series of fan-focused activities, giveaways, and sweepstakes designed to rally support for the Pack. Events include the Letters to Lambeau program, merchandise and ticket contests, daily prize opportunities, and special Packers Pro Shop promotions. Fans can also take part in Green and Gold Friday. For those traveling to Chicago, a free Packers Everywhere pep rally featuring alumni appearances, prizes, and entertainment as the countdown to kickoff continues.
Also coming up this weekend, the Badger men's basketball team heads to Ann Arbor to take on Michigan in a Big Ten showdown. Tip-off is set for noon this Saturday. And you know what? You can watch that game right here on News 3 Now. On Sunday, tune in to CBS for a wild card weekend as Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills head to Jacksonville to take on Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. Kickoff is set for noon.
Captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife made their first court appearances today in New York after their dramatic capture over the weekend by U.S. forces.
They face charges related to drug trafficking. Jared Hill has the latest from New York.
In shackles and prison garb, deposed Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro appeared in Manhattan federal court. "I'm innocent. I am not guilty. I am a decent man," he said through an interpreter, adding, "I am the constitutional president of my country." Sitting with his wife, Celia Flores, they each pleaded not guilty to 4 federal charges, including conspiracy to import cocaine and machine guns and conspiracy to commit narco-terrorism. Outside, hundreds of demonstrators gathered, some arguing against U.S. action in Venezuela, others celebrating Maduro's removal. U.S. forces captured the pair in Caracas early Saturday morning. President Trump expressed complete confidence in the move.
The case it's infallible.
Maduro hired attorney Barry Pollock, who defended WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. Legal analysts say that he could try one key argument to get this case thrown out.
Well, Maduro's defense is certainly going to argue that he gets absolute immunity as a head of state.
David Ehrenberg, a former state attorney in Florida, says while the legality of Maduro's capture will be debated in Congress and the United Nations, in the courtroom, it won't matter.
The law is clear that the manner in which a defendant is brought before a court does not strip the court of its power to try the defendant. The judge is not going to let Maduro go free because the arrest involved cruise missiles.
Maduro and his wife agreed to remain in custody, but Maduro's attorney hinted at a future bail application. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
The judge said both Maduro and his wife will receive full medical attention. Their next court date is March 17th.
Now it's time for a look at the first warn forecast. Freezing rain in the short term and snow later on. Jacob, what are you watching out for?
Well, the good news is that despite the precipitation tonight, we aren't going to see the temperatures cool down until that next system, but we'll see several days of highs near 40. That next system could also bring some accumulating snow, although how much right now is still very, very uncertain. But let's first start with tonight. There's a winter weather advisory in effect for areas north of the Dells, beginning at 9 p.m. this evening, continuing through noon tomorrow. And as we take a look at the timing of all this, we are going to see some of that light precipitation move into central Wisconsin over the next couple of hours. It'll be a little bit in the form of rain, a little bit in the form of freezing rain, and a little bit of snow, although the snow chances are pretty low. Now, far southern Wisconsin, mostly going to see just regular rainfall, but still could see some of that freezing rain. And even if we just see regular rain, it still could create some slick roads, considering that it has been pretty below freezing the last couple of days. Now, today has helped warm the ground up a little bit, but just be aware, any area that does see that rainfall could definitely see some slick conditions on the roads later tonight into tomorrow morning, and possibly even into the afternoon hours as well, as we'll see some light rain continue, maybe even see a last round of precipitation once we get towards the evening tomorrow. Now, not going to affect the temperatures too much, but I do want to fast forward to our next system. This is Thursday afternoon when our next round of rain will move in. Wednesday will be dry. And it's going to start out as rain for sure later Thursday into Thursday night. And then throughout the day on Friday, we'll see a little bit of a rain-snow mix. Doesn't look like it's going to be too heavy Friday. And then as we get towards Friday night and Saturday, that rain-snow mix could become all snow. And this is the potential for that snowfall accumulation I talked about. The best chance will be Saturday morning. But again, there is still a lot of uncertainty with this system. But it does look increasingly likely that at least some area of the Midwest will see some accumulating snow, and potentially a large amount, but that's only for the areas that see the track perfectly in terms of which the areas that would see the most snow. So again, don't want to hit the panic button yet, but just want to point out that if we do see some accumulating snow, it looks like it'll be late Friday night into Saturday, with this snow clearing out later in the day Saturday and Saturday night. Sunday should be pretty dry. Now, the temperatures will drop a little bit after that, but they're not going to be bitterly cold by any means. We're going to have highs in the 20s Sunday, and if you look at the overnight lows, there's not a single day that's going to get into the teens, at least not easily into the teens, and not even close to the single digits going forward. And this is the coldest time of the year, so the fact that we aren't seeing any bitterly cold temperatures over the next 10 days is certainly some great news.
All right, Jacob, thank you. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Well, a Waunakee teenager certainly did something good over the weekend after having an encounter on Lake Mendota over Christmas break.
Yeah, check this out. Sophomore Grant Richards and a friend found a goose frozen to the ice. Grant stayed with the bird, carefully freeing it and keeping it warm on his sled until it could fly away on its own. Grant says it was an unforgettable experience. It takes a big heart because geese are not always the most approachable of animals.
That's what we were just saying. Lucky that had a happy ending, but that was very nice of him to do that.
Yeah. It is warming up for geese and the rest of us, but we do have some rain on the way, Jacob.
And that ice is probably getting thinner and thinner on the lake. You have to be careful now.
Yeah, it got a little thicker with the cold, and now it's going to thin out. You know, this season's been kind of strange. It's like the lake froze over, then unfroze over, then froze over again. It might unfreeze again this week. So, yeah, it's been one of those kind of winters, but I think many people can come to an agreement and enjoy the no bitter cold air in the 10-day forecast. But we will see some of that precipitation. Again, Saturday is the key day. That's where we could see that accumulating snowfall, and that also will be the case potentially down in Chicago where the Packers are going to play. So that may impact the game, but a lot can still change between now and then. We will see some colder temperatures next week, but highs in the 20s are nothing for us.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Jacob. We'll be right back.
Thanks for watching Live at 4 today. We'll see you back here tomorrow, same time, same place. You can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. News 3 Now at 5 starts next.